Hi, I'm Tom, and this is Adult Game Reviews. This week I played up to Chapter 8 of the in-development VN Companion of Darkness by Berkili 4. I bought Companion of Darkness off of Berkili 4's Patreon. Since it uses the Honey Select style of renders, it's doubtful it will be on Steam anytime soon. You can play Companion of Darkness on Windows, Mac, and Android. So have you ever wanted your own symbiote, like Venom? Well, Companion of Darkness is basically Venom, except hotter.
I am Venom.
First, I want to thank everyone for the support. If you're thinking about supporting the channel, there are a few ways to do that. You can check out my Patreon or Subscribestar, which you can get early access to videos, weekly Steam release lists, and more. You can also use the thanks button down below if you don't want to do anything so formal. Thanks all for even considering it. Okay, let's get into Companion of Darkness. You play the main character who's moving in with your childhood friend Clara and her mom Claire. You start a new school after getting kicked out of your old one for reasons. The VN starts with you stumbling into a situation that no mortal should see. I would consider the first chapter to be horror, but as time goes on, it becomes less scary and more like an action thriller. The renders look decent for Honey Select. Not as good as like Eternum, but definitely better than Once in a Lifetime. Kind of similar to MBML in my opinion. There are animations, but most are like a flip book instead of a fluid animation. I didn't really find this to be a problem because most of the scenes that utilize this flip book style were pretty fun. I will show you some here just to get an idea. There is sporadic music and sound effects. I felt like the music is a little repetitive, so I turned on my own, but the sound effects were hilarious. They seemingly came out of nowhere, and when I had my speakers on when playing, Emily would jump with the explosions or other sudden sound effects. I would suggest turning down the sound effect volume because they can be pretty loud. So probably the biggest downside was the writing. It was fine. It reminded me a bit of MBML. There were awkward sentences or strange word usage at times. None of it prevented me from understanding what was being said, but I'm super picky about writing and it definitely wasn't perfect. However, because the story was so engaging, I felt like that kind of saved the writing a little bit. The whole world is filled with these entities that humans can't see unless you have been bonded to one of them.
We are Venom.
After bonding to them, you gain their strength and powers, but this also makes you a target. Throughout the story, you learn about these creatures and watch yourself change and grow. You get sucked into a world that you never knew existed. The story itself is really well done. Outside of the first chapter, I wouldn't consider this a horror VN, but more of a thriller, mainly because it's not very scary and it gets very bloody and violent, which I thought was pretty awesome. But just be warned.
And then we will eat your face right off your head. Do you understand?
Companion of Darkness also does love interests a little bit differently. You can have human and non-human love interests, but each follows different rules, unique and relatively clever in their execution. For the humans, you have Clara, your childhood friend with an anxiety disorder, Amy, Clara's friend who's chaotic but fun, and Emma, who I feel like I'm just getting to know. For the non-humans, you have Noelle, the little sister, Arsael, who is easily my favorite and just walking chaos, and who doesn't like a redhead, and Ida, who is just a badass, and many, many more. Over 8 chapters, many of the characters become more or less important as time goes on. There are a decent amount of twists and turns to keep things from getting stale. Chapter 8 is the last chapter in Act 2. I have no idea how many acts there will be, but there was a good amount of content through 8 chapters. So there's a little bit of a slow burn when it comes to the spicy content, but that picks up pretty fast and builds as time goes on. There's a plot device that makes these scenes happen more often, which was a really good idea. So I felt like Companion of Darkness was kind of a mix between a kinetic novel and a visual novel. Some things kind of happen and you're just reading through it, but when you do have a choice, it felt like it mattered, but only time will tell how much. So the engaging story, the clever plot, the fun characters all made this a play for me. I had a really fun time with Companion of Darkness. It kind of reminds me of the Venom movies. Really fun with some engaging scenes, but really all we want to see is Venom fight the big bad.
Oh, I have a parasite.
I feel like this kind of sums up Companion of Darkness well, so if you played Companion of Darkness, let me know what you think down below. I want to thank all of my backers, and if you haven't seen my list of 10 games I'm keeping an eye on, you can check that out right here. Thanks again, until next time.